I don't want to give a penny more to TSA or DHS. They're dragging women by their hair, throwing them into unmarked vans.
The contents of that bill were decided upon earlier by Democrats until they decided to hold the American people hostage in their long lines at the airports.
They did a poll. Is Trump losing MAGA support? The poll was 100%.
Good morning. It's 8:07 on News Talk 1079. Welcome to Friday. I had this thought last night. I don't know if it's the same for you, but yeah, I feel like this week has just been whoosh. Like I woke up yesterday and it was Monday morning and I had a long week ahead of me, and now here we are on Friday, just slipping into the weekend. I don't know what happened to the week. Like, we've been here, we've had stuff, we've talked about it, we've done our usual daily routine, but for whatever reason, it just feels like the time has gone by very, very quickly. So, that being said, we still have a day to go here, and we've got the legislative session underway. We've got things to talk about with that. The Senate now, as we approach the 11th hour of the legislative session, has put forward some immigration bills of their own, and it appears one of them is nearly identical, at least in stated purpose, to a bill that was passed by the House and has been sitting in a Senate drawer. Now, there may be more contour to this that I don't understand, but I'm not sure why they didn't just say, well, if we want this bill, let's just move the House version forward. What's different? What changes? Is this a question of who gets credit? I have no idea. All I know is I'm getting tired of the nonsense, and it often just feels like nonsense is underway, which brings me to a main point. I have one word on my monologue notes today. Sometimes I have people ask me, like, well, how long do you have to prepare? And do you have a script? And I'm like, no, I don't. I will tell you what I do. I read and I get infuriated and inflamed. That's what I do. And that actually makes really good show prep for a conservative talk show host. And really probably any talk show host, to be honest with you. But as I watch this TSA funding ICE showdown, when you really think about it, and I mean really think about it, don't just put it in the category of this is yet another episode of a soap opera called American Politics. You really think about the willingness that the Democrat Party has to inflict pain. And I'm realizing something, and I know what you're saying, and I know what the other side would say right now. They're like, well, the Republicans wouldn't pass what the Democrats wanted. The problem with that is what the Democrats want is a moving target. What they agreed to a week or two ago, they no longer will agree to today. In fact, the Republicans went back and say, okay, we'll give you what you have already agreed to do. And then they said, no, we don't want to do it. So here, during spring break, at least it's spring break for much of America, when they know people will be traveling, and they know there's a lot of people in airports this week, they saw an opportunity. They believed that if they could leverage the bad optics of these long lines at the TSA, that they could make Trump and the Republicans in Congress look bad by not caving to their demands to defund ICE and whatever else they're saying they want to do this week. And thank goodness you have Republicans that are like, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Now, I'm not calling the left terrorists, but I would say that it's a tactic that is similar. And they're just saying, no, we offered the very simple, straightforward thing that you can vote for that will get these lines moving again. And they said no. And I realized this was the realization. It's not that they're willing to tolerate Americans undergoing pain. That is the point of their strategy. You know, I look at this. I mean, it's Schadenfreude. It's looking at the American people and from the perch upon which they sit, it must bring them some level of pleasure to see that they have the power by holding out that they can actually impose on people's life, to be that imposition, to make things more cumbersome, to make things harder. I don't get it. I will be honest with you. I have my flaws and my struggles and my challenges. Loving to see people suffer is not one of them. It just isn't. But I do know people, and I know of people, and you probably know people too, that if they can disrupt and deliberately make life more cumbersome and more difficult, they get somewhere in there, they get their jollies doing that. And it's sick. It is sick. I remember, I told this story yesterday. Remember back when Barack Obama was the president of the United States, and I don't know, there were a handful of shutdown, they breached the precipice, and there was a time or two where they actually had to shut down the National Park Service in Washington, D.C. They actually found funding to place barricades around open-air monuments which require no staffing. It doesn't cost the federal government anything to let you walk past the World War II memorial, for instance. They actually spent more money to prevent you from doing something that costs nothing. And Barack Obama himself said, well, we need the American people to feel it. We need the people to feel the pain, so they'll put the pressure on the lawmakers to get the government reopened. It is absolutely a lever that they are willing to pull. And they're almost vocal about it. They might not say it quite as blatantly as I have, but they're okay with it. Although they do say it. And I remember the longest shutdown in history late last year, 42 days, I think, the government was shut down. And we had a couple of clips from Democrats, and they were saying, well, we need the American people to feel the pain of this so we can, pressure these Republicans into, quote unquote, doing the right thing. And this is exactly who the Democrats have become. It's who they are. So here's what's happened today. Based on seeing headline, they've actually voted in the Senate to fund DHS, all of DHS, except for TSA and ICE. So you would ask, why TSA? Why that? Because that is their trump card. That's what they're holding on in order to defund ICE, to abolish ICE, to get rid of ICE. They can't stand that there's actually a federal agency that is deporting people and cracking down on people that they need to tilt the demographic scales so they have more congressional seats. And in some cases, there is fraudulent voting. It's kind of a tough issue to fully understand. In fact, it took me a while to get this, because you think, well, they want illegals in blue states, so they'll vote illegally and keep voting for Democrats. That's actually secondary to their real point here. There's been case law that's been decided in previous Supreme Court cases that even people who are illegal can be counted for apportionment, which means when you're counting up congressional districts or counting the population of America, you count illegals, and that will become part of how we draw congressional maps. In other words, if you can get more people in your state, you get more congressional seats. And if you're a blue state, that means more Democrat congressional seats. And so this is why you think they had the term sanctuary, because they had compassion. You think it's because they wanted to welcome these people coming across our borders with open arms and to provide them with shelter and safety and comfort. I'm sure there were some that were well-meaning. But the overall goal here is, and hopefully it'll be past tense, but their overall goal was to overload the Democrat states with more congressional districts. And that was one of the ways that they were hacking the system. They found the loopholes, and that's why, remember a few years ago, they're like, hey, if we create these sanctuary jurisdictions like Seattle, or they're always in blue states, and you're wondering, they don't have the money to do this. They don't have the resources. This is causing, you're right, they do not. You look at these states that are doing this, it's a horrible financial decision, and it's a massive weight on their state budgets. They don't care. And they don't care because it gives them more power in the world's biggest concentration of power called Washington, D.C. And that's what they've really wanted. It's disgusting what they do. So this is why they are freaking out over the deportation policy that Trump has had. This is, quite frankly, why the immigration issue has resonated so strongly across the country. Because you have these Democrats that are willing to see their communities get destroyed by the pressure that is on the services, by the increased crime in some cases that happen. They don't care, but the people do care. And I believe this is an 80-20 issue. When you look at immigration, and I'll be upfront about this. I have compassion, and I have a soft spot, and I don't like the idea of families being broken up. That's a sad thing, and I'm hopeful we can find legal, lawful ways that can alleviate a lot of this, but no on amnesty. No on just saying we're going to ignore the law. I can't do that. I can't do that because if we start doing that, then we lose our republic. The word law takes on a different meaning, and that meaning becomes more akin to suggestion. And laws are not suggestions. Laws are something that keeps our society stable and whole. It keeps them orderly. It keeps us free, quite honestly. And when laws are applied well, good laws applied well, we're all better off for that. So I lose, even though they are people that I naturally would align with on so many issues, when you have industries coming forward saying, you know what, just look the other way on immigration law because it's going to hurt our industry. I can't let that slide. I don't want to imperil a friendship. I don't want to threaten what I think is a good and healthy relationship. But the law has to mean the law. It can't be viewed forward as a mere suggestion and optional. So when I look at ICE, I don't have the revulsion that a lot of people on the left have been conditioned to have these last few months, this last year. I don't have that revulsion because guess what they're doing? They're upholding the law. The work that they have to do is unpleasant. Any cop will tell you there's parts of their job. It's just unpleasant. It's not fun to go in and you have to confront people who've been breaking the law. And there's usually resistance. There's usually complications. It's just gritty work that you have to do. But it's even worse when you have an entire portion, and a big portion, of the political establishment and the cultural establishment that is making it deliberately harder for you, calling for your abolishment, calling for you to have to do things that will compromise your safety. I don't have a lot of patience for that. And I get sick and tired of it. And I think America gets sick and tired of it too. And just because somebody loud is throwing a conniption doesn't mean a majority of people are throwing a conniption. Just because you have a few high volume individuals with megaphones are upset about something doesn't mean that a correlating proportion of society shares the same level of outrage. They don't. America looks at this and says, okay, we can find some unique situations like the Dreamers and people who've been here since they were children, and they may be technically illegal, but we can find a legal way to handle that. But for the most part, this whole issue of able-bodied adults just coming here, crossing the border. They might claim asylum. They don't actually need it. Those are people, they need to go back home. If they want to come here, there's a way to do it, and there's a process. But we during the Biden administration, it was millions and millions and millions of people that were being released into communities that don't have the resources to handle it. And it's created massive problems for our nation just so Democrats could get a few more congressional seats. So when you look what they see when we're trying to fund ICE, immigrations and customs enforcement, they see the same thing when Elon Musk bought Twitter. They see the loss of something they were banking on would give them a significant advantage in elections to come. Therefore, they are freaking out because they view it as an existential threat to their strong presence in American politics. They don't have ideas that are great at winning over Americans who are here legally, who can vote legally. They don't. They have to supplement it. They have to augment it. And they've augmented it with social media algorithms. They've augmented it with illegal immigration, pouring over our borders, open borders. That's how they do it. They have to supplement what they do, their ideas, which are lousy, with all this other trickery so that they can stay relevant in American politics. And Donald Trump is that existential threat to them and his policies, I should say, and the people who support him. It really is something that they, and I'll be honest with you, it's for good reason. If we were to deport those who are here illegally, they are going to lose congressional seats. And that's why they gerrymander. I mean, that's another issue here. Look at all the ways that they go about trying to game the system. We'll be back. It's 8:26. We're just a few minutes away from Allie Wilde. She will be performing some Sarah Bareilles, Gravity, for us on today's Studio 4 covers. Okay, it's 8:29 on News Talk 107.9. Neil Larson, Julie Mason. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Neil.
Allie's in the green room right now.
She's so sweet.
Yeah. She's great. I can't wait to have her perform today.
She's awesome. She's going to also talk to us about the SOS benefit concert. They do this every year. They help some young student who's struggling with something. Mm-hmm. This year, it's a young man from Thunder Ridge High School who is currently afflicted with cancer. So she's going to tell us his story and how you can support their SOS benefit concert.
Oh, good. Good. Looking forward to that. Sarah Bareilles, Gravity, beautiful song, too.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be so good.
So it will be good. And she'll be joining us here in about 5 minutes right here on News Talk 107.9 on this week's Studio 4 cover. We'll be right back. And we're back. It's 8:36 now on News Talk 107.9. Neil Larson along with Julie Mason. And Julie, we're excited. We've known Allie for a long time. I remember, Allie, I interviewed you and Christina probably close to 20 years ago.
Oh.
What years were you on America's Got Talent? What was that?
I think it was 2010.
2010.
Yeah,
okay, so it's been more like 16 years.
That's close to 20 years.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yeah. And you've actually sung for us in every studio I've worked in. Brian,
That's so funny.
So.
Because did you know I actually went to the wrong studio today? I didn't.
That's okay.
It's not anyone's fault but my own.
Yeah.
I just was like, I went where my heart thought
You
you
needed
guys
the
were.
extra time to warm up in the car.
I guess I did.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you are now in the right studio.
Yeah.
So that's what's important. So give us an update. What have you been up to? What are you doing?
Oh, okay. So I teach singing lessons with my sister, Christina, who was on the show with me. And we do a performing group called SOS Singers on Stage.
Yeah.
We just took it over. My mom did it for years and years. So we're doing that currently. We're getting ready for our spring benefit concert, which is on April 17th. So we're doing a lot of that. And we've just recently been working with some pharmaceutical companies, doing some like singing and motivational speaking.
Okay.
Just that make like cystic fibrosis medicine. So we've been doing that, which has been fun.
That's true. And that was part of your compelling story and still is, I'm sure. But tell us how you are doing.
Oh, I actually am doing really good.
Good.
I know it is kind of an invisible illness. People would never guess that I had a chronic illness.
Yeah.
But I do struggle day to day that people don't see. But I'm great. I do not want anyone to ever feel bad, or I'm just like living the dream. Yeah. So I really am doing good.
Oh, good. All right. Well, we want to talk about someone you're helping out with SOS.
Yes,
is that right?
Please.
Yeah. Tell us about this.
Okay. His name is Dom Nunez. He's a senior at Thunder Ridge High School.
Yeah.
And he has cancer, and it's a really long name of cancer. And I looked up how to pronounce it and I forgot. But he was doing a lot better, and then it came back and spread just more places. And so he's actually in Salt Lake this weekend getting more treatment. And so we want to raise money for him.
Okay.
And it is hard to spread the word, honestly. Yeah. It's hard to like get people going and go to events. And I'm like, please, if you hear this and you have any inkling to want to come watch a fun show of singing, dancing, pop, country, inspirational, and help out a local kid with cancer, please come.
So where are all the details? Where's it at? What time? Everything.
So April 17th at 7 p.m. at the Colonial Theater. And we're looking for sponsors, for donations, for raffle items, anything. And we just want to help him out. This goes to him and his family, all the money. So it's hard to get the word out. I just want people to come and feel as passionate as I do.
Allie, if you'll do us a favor, as we get closer to that date, will you text Julie, reach out? We'll give it some more love as we get a little bit closer to it.
Oh my gosh,
I think
that would
is
be
a great
amazing.
cause. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Really, that's so nice.
Absolutely. And is there a place they can go? Do they get tickets? I mean, what's the best way to do this?
Yes, we do have a Facebook page, SOS Singers on Stage, but also we will be putting posters out. We're going to be releasing a video of Dom soon, and we're just going to blast it.
Okay.
And like take donations and So that will be on our Facebook page, SOS Singers on Stage.
Okay.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, it's Brad from Now 105.1 and QP99. I'm in the studio here. I love our studios, by the way. Ranger Rick back there. There's Neil and Julie doing their thing. Hey, when you want to advertise on the radio, what do? You call the radio station, right? But what do you do when you want to advertise on Facebook and Instagram and Hulu and Disney Plus and Peacock and the other TV streaming services? You can kind of click around on them and make guesses or read books or take courses online on how to do that advertising. Or you could call us at the radio station. At Sandhill Media, we take care of your local radio and digital marketing. So reach out to us at sandhillmediagroup.com and we'll make sure that your message gets heard and seen wherever your customers are.
Great. Have I forgotten anything? Are we good?
Yes, we are good. I just need to clear my throat, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll go ahead and turn the microphone down. There we go.
Too late, I already did it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So, all right, I got to switch a layer here. And if you're ready, we can get started. Sarah Bareilles, Gravity.
Yes.
Performed this morning by Allie Wilde.
Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long. No matter what I say or do, still feel you here till the moment I'm gone. You hold me with that touch and keep me without chains. I never wanted anything so much than to drown in your love and not feel your I don't wanna fall another moment into your gravity. Here I am, and I stand so tall, just the way I'm supposed to be. But you're onto me and all over me. Oh, you loved me 'cause I'm fragile, when I thought that I was strong. But you touched me for a little while. All my fragile strength is gone. Set me free, leave me be. I don't want to fall another moment into your gravity. Here I am, and I stand so tall, just the way I'm supposed to be. But you're onto me, all over me. I live here on my knees as I try to make you see that you're everything I think I need here on the ground. You're neither friend nor foe, though I can't seem to let you go. One thing that I still know is that you're keeping me down. No, you're keeping me down. Yeah. You're onto me, and all over. Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long.
Allie, I told Julie yesterday, you could come in and sing the dictionary and people would love it.
You are so nuts. I had to... It was a little struggle there because I didn't want to blast the microphone.
Yeah.
And so I changed it last minute. It was a little struggle, but that's okay. I love that song.
Beautiful as
You're
always.
So nice. Thank you.
Allie Wilde, thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Come to the show if you feel inclined.
Give us the
guys.
Facebook page one more time.
SOS Singers on Stage.
All right. Allie, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. It's 8:45. All right. It's 8:49. News Talk 1079. Welcome back on this Friday. 208-542-1079 is the number if you'd like to text. And you can also call as well. And we're going to do open lines. I think we need like an hour, Julie. We always do open lines, but sometimes the intensity with which we promote open lines will fluctuate. Mm-hmm. Today, I want to pedal to the metal. All right, we're gonna do open lines. If you want to talk about TSA, you can. You want to talk about all the facets or any of the facets of the Idaho legislative session, you can. If there's a cultural issue, you can. If there's a new flavor of Doritos, you can call and talk about that too. So whatever it might
Naked
be.
Doritos, they're on the menu.
Yeah, that's true. So, how are you feeling, by the way?
I really want to take a nap, but we can get it. Well, you got 1 more hour in us. We got this.
Okay. All right.
We're good.
We got that. You know what? You came in this morning. The instant I saw you, my thought was, why are you here? These are the days where you call in and go, Neil, I'm not going to make it. And you take your hot shower, climb back in bed and sleep.
We had studio for cover. We're tough. I don't have a rest. I don't have much of a day for the rest of the day. So I'm going to go home and rest after this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you probably don't need a scolding from me to add to your troubles.
We're good. I'm trying to stay as far away from people as I can. Not spit, not touch, not do anything.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, we do have, what do we have? We got a few minutes left here. Mike Lee, someone said, This I was talking about in my monologue. What's happening with ICE and immigration, and now this effort to defund, which is so weird because ICE is going to be funded for the next 2 years, I think, 1 or 2 years. They can't defund ICE right now anyway if they wanted to. The only agency getting hammered is TSA and basically the American people because of it.
And FEMA. And we've had some snowstorms. Hawaii just had that horrific flooding.
Yeah.
That was the second or third step of all of the fires that they had. Because when you lose your foliage and fire burns everything, the water doesn't work as right. So FEMA has got some issues. They're not funded either. You've got TSA not funded. Yeah, I guess that's a win for you Democrats. Hurt the people that are going to vote for you. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't either. But someone texted in and said, this is not a Democrat versus Republican thing anymore. Nobody has representation in the House or Senate anymore. Okay, well, I'm not quite sure what they're saying. This is clearly a problem that I believe is much worse on the Democrat side. And I think that and I mean, I can see it through both angles here, where both sides have a gun to each other's head and they're, but this is one, and we saw this in the last year's record-long government shutdown, where it was as clean a bill as you could get. It was just simply straightforward, let's fund the government. And the Democrats said no, because they want to put in their social engineering funding. They wanted to undo the big, beautiful bill. They can't stand what's in the big, beautiful bill. So they wouldn't even vote to continue to fund the government in a clean bill. Nobody was putting in shenanigans. Republicans were not inserting shenanigans into the funding bills. Like, there's usually pork and earmarks, and you didn't have hardly any of that stuff, if any. And yet the Democrats are saying, no, we don't like it. They blockade everything, and it's rooted in their Trump derangement. They cannot handle the fact that Donald Trump is the president of the United States.
I would ask that person, and they probably have a deeper explanation to their text, but I would ask that person, I believe it was absolutely a partisan issue when, under the Biden administration, illegal aliens were allowed to stream across the border, not follow the current border legislation that we had in place.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that. They were given debit cards, cell phones. They were transported to whatever city they requested. The red carpet was rolled out for these people. That sure feels like a partisan issue to me.
Yeah, they had something else to say. Yeah, no, it's true. It does feel that way. I don't know what to do about it. I think we have to take away their cheating methods. When Elon Musk bought Twitter, that took away one of their big cheating methods. When we decided, you know what, if you're going to gerrymander, we'll gerrymander. That equalizes another one of their cheating methods. Deportations takes away one of their cheating methods. And so I think that over time, no wonder they use rhetoric like this is Jim Crow 2.0. They always pull the race card. They think that works still. And it doesn't. It never does.
No. I was talking with someone last night, and we were talking about how the word trauma has been overused. I think 15, 20 years ago, we would have defined trauma differently. Today's age defines trauma as I had to wait extra time for my Taco Bell order.
That is true, yes.
I mean, we had a legislator, Representative Mickelson, who whined and complained about having to wait extra time at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have a good gauge of what trauma is anymore. We've decided everything's trauma, and man, we're sissies and we need to get a little bit more grit around us. We don't understand what racism is anymore either. They throw it out there for everything. There are people who suffered horrifically due to racism. And you just diminish all of that when you do that with that word.
You do. It's pretty sick that they would take a true injustice from the past and try to leverage it for their just current political temporary advantage. Yeah. It's like, well, but don't they do that on a lot of other things right now? And not right now so much, but they compared Trump to Hitler all the time. I mean, all the Holocaust references or the Nazi references or the fascist references or whatever. I'm starting to think that might be wearing out because I don't hear that term being thrown out a lot.
I use the word vanilla-ized.
Yeah.
You can't vanilla-ize these very defined, ugly terms. And they're defined and ugly because they're representing something ugly.
Yeah.
Well, when you vanilla-ize it, you take all the power out of those words.
Well, you do, and you actually change the meaning because if these people that are calling MAGA fascist or Trump fascist, I bet you a majority of them have no idea what the actual definition of fascist is. They've just heard it so much in this new context. They would probably tell you, yeah, fascist means it's a MAGA conservative I don't like. Mm-hmm. And that's probably their definition of it. And they don't realize that it actually has a political meaning.
Yeah, it's far deeper, far more descriptive than what they're giving it credit for.
Yeah, I think so. But the Trump derangement is real. Mm-hmm. So someone else texted in, Julie said, the word toxic has been abusively overused as well.
I'm with you on that. Yep.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and it's made for a toxic environment. Just kidding. Making a joke.
You're so fun.
Yeah. Someone said, what I meant with that comment was we are still headed in the wrong direction, even with Trump as president. If we had a Democrat as president, we would be sprinting in the wrong direction. With a Republican, it's a walk. The House, Senate, three-letter agencies have thrown roadblocks to the entire agenda.
Okay.
So,
I can get. We can have a conversation about. I can
Yes.
totally get behind that.
Yeah, it's true. I do think Trump is trying to hit the brakes and get the thing turned around. Mm-hmm. But I would agree. I still think we're kind of headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So someone said we're weak, and I'm like, I think we're probably stronger than we've been in a long time as a country.
That's an interesting take for me because I know people abhor war. They don't want it. They don't want conflicts. They don't want any of those things.
Yeah.
Well, this is not the playground. We have to do these difficult things to keep America safe.
Yeah.
And I wish that they could view it through different lenses.
Freedom's not free. Like it's gritty work to maintain it. So, All right, we're going to break hour 2 coming up. And yes, it's a true open lines. We'll tease it. We'll prime the pump here, but I want you to think about some topics you want to bring up. We'll do that next. All right, welcome back. It's 9:07 on News Talk 107.9. Neil Larson, Julie Mason, and all of y'all. And if you'd like to be a part of the program, the number to call or text is 208-542-1079. And we strongly encourage you to call today. I sort of miss, sometimes we let the topics overshadow, and that's not always really conducive to have a true open line. I want a true open line today. So I would love for people to call in if you want to talk about UFO disclosure, because there's some rumblings about how we are going to have some shocking revelations coming soon. If you want to talk about, I don't know, the latest food craze that's going on, that would be fine too. I did, by the way, last weekend, I tried for the first time the Big Arch.
Oh, you did try it.
I did try the Big Arch.
What did you think?
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't,
maybe not worth the hype.
I don't know that it was worth the hype. And I like McDonald's. Okay, that's not I'm just being honest with you. It's worth having one, but I mean it was, and I just had the burger alone because I'm not doing soda, so I didn't get it. I just got the burger. It was $9, and I'm like, I'm not sure this is worth $9.
Okay.
Or it's 8 something, but it was fine.
Long gone are the days of the $2.99 quarter pounder. Long gone.
Yeah, no, it's true. Although I have a question because, and I won't say which location I was at because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I got my Big Arch. And around the edges in the container that it comes in, there were a few of those little crispy onions. I didn't detect any of those crispy onions actually on the burger. So for those of you who work on the inside in the fast food industry, is that a little thing you do if you're running out of something, you don't actually put it in the food, you just sprinkle a few little bits of it around the food so it
looks like it was there.
Because I think if I had a bunch more of those on, I probably would have enjoyed the burger a lot more. But I'm like, where are the crispy onions? I see a few little bits of them in the box, but I don't taste them on the burger.
Yeah, you didn't want it like glitter.
Yeah.
You wanted it as a staple in the hamburger.
Absolutely. You're dropping $9 on it.
Yeah.
You better have the crispy onions in it.
I love crispy onions.
I do too.
They're
I really do.
so good.
Not so much the breath afterwards, but the onions are good.
They're really good on top of Hawaiian haystacks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really? I've never done that.
So good.
Okay. That'll be on the list next time we do Hawaiian haystacks. So speaking of that, it made me think of something that happened to me a few years ago. I went to a big box store, and I won't say which one, but you have to be a member to go to it.
That narrows it to 2.
One of the 2.
Okay.
All right. And I don't even know, I don't remember which one. We're not going to mention either one. But I remember I ordered an ice cream, and, they give you a pretty good size cup. And when they hand it to you, it looks like it's full of ice cream. But if you're careful and you spoon off the top carefully, it's hollow in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's crap. You're not buying that whole container. That's like an illusion. It's sort of like they're putting it around the edges, but you're actually buying less ice cream than what is apparent. And I'm like, come on, big box stores, do a little better.
The other thing those containers do is if, for like those on Facebook Live, you can see the bottom of my mug, right?
Yeah.
The liquid goes clear down to the bottom of this mug.
Yeah.
But sometimes in those ice cream containers, the bottom is actually elevated inside there, and there's this empty spot.
Yeah.
If you flip your ice cream container over, you can see that there's an inch of empty spot. So it looks like your ice cream is going to go all the way down to the bottom. But if you flip it over, the actual bottom isn't right there at the bottom. It's inside a little bit.
You know what else? Who else or what other industry does that? Chocolates. Like when you buy a box of chocolates, it'll be this thick box that looks like it's a double decker. But you open it up, the bottom is just a hollow space filler, cardboard filler. And I'm like,
you liars.
You little twerps.
Yeah.
You just took advantage. So there ought to be a law. I mean, there are laws, but
not in Idaho because you can only pass 15 of them under your name.
Yeah, they
have to pick and choose.
So if you want to talk about that, you can, but please do not mention any official brand names because we just don't want that fight, and we're not into the game of ragging on specific brands. But
we don't do that.
There are these daily experiences where you're just like, oh.
I wish that didn't do that.
Why did they do that?
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm a little shocked nobody's called.
There's got to be somebody who has something to say.
We might have to bring up roundabouts, Julie.
Oh, no. No.
We're not bringing up roundabouts?
No.
Like the one that's at the corner of... No, I'm just kidding.
This person says they were trained at an ice cream shop to do exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know they are. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Big Arch has way too much sauce on it. See, I didn't feel like that.
You like your condiments, though.
Yeah, I'm a sauce guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's true.
That makes sense.
All right, let's go to the phones. 208-542-1079. Caller, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Hi.
I guess what you're talking about is kind of a bait and switch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've had some bait and switch folks over at the state legislature this year. If you notice, Stop Idaho Rhinos put out a scorecard. Well, they don't call it a scorecard. It's just which legislators voted most with the Democrats, and they excluded unanimous bills because there were several that were housekeeping unanimous bills. And, Pocatello's, or I guess Income's very own Jim Guthrie was the number one legislator. Old Stephanie Jo Mickelson, she was up there on the list. Red Flag Rod Furness, he was up there a bit. But it's just really sad when we have so many quote unquote Republicans who vote more often with Democrats in the majority than they do with the Republicans in the majority. What are your thoughts?
Well, I want to be clear because, we created the Party Cohesion Index. And most of them, and I want to be factually correct here because we got to maintain trust with our audience and our credibility and integrity here. Most lawmakers who are Republicans vote in a majority of the time with their Republican majority. Mm-hmm. But those numbers are, with some of them, are lower than a lot of people would like. And there is one, although I have been updating the Party Cohesion Index pretty much every day, at least 2 or 3 times a week. And you're right, Senator Guthrie votes anywhere from about 46 to 50, I think maybe got up to 51 or 52% of the time with the Republican majority when there is this majority split phenomenon that you're talking about, which is quite a number of votes. In fact, I think in the Senate, there have been almost 40 of these votes now. And over on the House side, there's been more than double that, I believe, or about double that. And so that's just the speed at which legislation goes through in these. But I am going to say this. Most of the lawmakers are voting a majority of the time with their party, but there's a handful of lawmakers where that majority is pretty low. It's in the 50s and 60s. And so, yes, you would be correct about that.
So we pretty much said the same thing, just a few extra words to get there.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I think that's an interesting thought. We're not going to do it here today, but I'd like to know what the comfort level is for people. Like, what is your percentage level that makes you go, I can live with that?
I don't know that it's a percentage level because that's too broad, but I can tell you there are certain key topics, certain key issues that matter more than others, and I know these aren't always weighted.
Yep.
For instance, Rick Cheatham, Jim Guthrie, Mickelson are horrible when it comes to immigration issues. Those are important when it comes to keeping hairy guys out of little girls' bathrooms and things like that. That's important, and there's other issues obviously as well, but those aren't weighted. It's just a pure numbers game. So I think that there's some nuances there that matter. But I appreciate you taking my call, and happy Friday.
All right, thank you for the call. You know what? That might be the add-on for next year's PCI. Is the user could go on and with a slider weight the bills. Like, this is of this level of importance to me. This is of this level of importance to me. And then you're going to get a custom score for you. Like, there may be people out there. I would imagine if you're a farmer and you're conservative on nearly every issue, you might go, but we cannot deport everybody. It's going to destroy farming in Idaho if we do that. Like, whatever. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? They might lower the importance threshold on immigration bills, for instance. So I want to add that to it. It just was late in the session, but I even have a program. I have a user interface that allows you now to pick bill categories. So if it's immigration bills, if it's education bills, if it's, the transgender bathroom bills, you can go through, you can pick those and see how lawmakers, you can get a score for just those bills too. So
yeah, you can narrow it down. Quick reminder, you can get this data for yourself if you text the letters PCI to 208-542-1079. Stands for Party Cohesion Index, PCI.
I feel it's important to add this every time we talk about it for more than a minute. Please do your research, because there may be good reasons why lawmakers will vote against their majority, and and defensible. I won't say good reasons. I'm not going to put a value on it, but at least defensible reasons.
Explainable for sure.
Yes. And so don't just look at a percentage and go, I hate that guy. Don't do that. Reach out to them, ask them why they vote the way they do, or search their social media, or, you know what, the legislature, Idaho Public TV, it puts all the hearings and all the floor debates online. You can actually go to the legislative page and you can find archives of all the floor debates. You can get a flavor for why they're voting the way they are, right. Quite often from those hearings and floor debates. So.
Yeah. Before we take that call, you just mentioned that you really want people to do their own due diligence. You want them to look through it and figure it out. One of the questions that if Stephanie Mickelson would actually agree to come on the show, that I would ask her is she has one of the highest absentee rates in this session. She's missed a lot of votes. Now, we do know she had a couple of personal things happen. I think that some of those are that. I don't think all of it is how high. She's at 13%.
So, the words are important here. She's missed the votes on the split party votes.
Yes.
So those are the ones she's missed. I don't know what her overall percentage is, if it's higher or lower, but we just want to be clear. It's those votes that she's
Those exact votes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good question to ask. And if you're reviewing the information on the PCI list, you could send her an email if that concerns you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't bother you that she's not there.
Yeah.
It would be a question I would like to have answered.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very valid question. Let's go to our next caller. Welcome to the show, caller. Hi.
I was just made aware last night about, I think this is the right number, SB 1300. It's concerning Harriman State Park.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard or talked about that.
We have a little bit, yeah.
Okay, you know about it then.
Yeah.
But it passed, and so it's on the governor's desk. So it's up to him what he does with it. And so if anybody doesn't want the Harriman State Park to be ruled by political whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, I hope. But we need to call or email or call him and ask him to please veto the bill if they don't want that changed.
Yeah. So basically, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the summary of this bill is that it provides for the Senate advise and consent and gubernatorial appointment for the directors of Department of Transportation, Parks and Rec, and Fish and Game agencies. And the Harriman family, believes that this will violate the agreement that they've had, and it could put in jeopardy the status of Harriman State Park. And the family, they donated, I guess that would be the right word, but it came with some stipulations about how it was staffed and who was in charge of the staffing. And they're saying this may put this in jeopardy. So I have not heard a good explanation from lawmakers as to how it wouldn't. They've said it won't, but they haven't explained how it won't. So maybe we need a better explanation.
But if it's going to be up to politicians to make the decisions, you know how that can go.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I just wanted to be sure people were there.
I'm glad you brought this up. I think we have to take a long look at this, and this is one where I'm at the Idaho Conservation League's website here.
Okay.
And I honestly, I don't care how we get Fish and Game and Parks and Rec. I've never been emotionally or invested into that, and I can understand why the legislature wants to have a bigger say in it. Whatever. I just don't want Harriman Park to be threatened because of it. And so I hope the governor will consider deeply what the implication will be of his signature, whether it's a veto or it's on a bill.
Mm-hmm. We did just hear from a lawmaker, and this lawmaker said that Governor Little really does want this bill. So the chance that it would be vetoed isn't going to happen. I'm wondering, could you add anything to it? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago when this bill came up. Could you add a trailer bill to it to protect Harriman State Park in any way? Anything. I don't even know if it's possible. But that would be the question I would be asking.
Yeah, and hopefully that would be a fix.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think. This fundamentally changes the way you would pick people to staff those agencies.
Sure.
And through a very defensible interpretation, would violate the agreement with the family. So you'd have to actually just create a special little agency just for
Harriman,
which they're probably not going to do that either. Yeah. But guess who's calling in? Carrie Hanks, which she probably has an opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
Hi, Carrie. How are you?
Hi, really good. And sounds like, Julie, you're not feeling so good
I don't feel well, but thank you. We're powering through.
Yep, I appreciate you making the effort to be there today. So, yeah, so I have been very concerned where I live in Fremont County, and this is a really big deal, the Harriman Park. We sure don't want to turn it back to the Harrimans.
Yeah.
And so I have I've reached out to some of the legislators, and according to one that's pretty much in the know, you I don't know how you can't really trust politicians, right?
Yeah.
But he did say that the governor's lawyers and Raul's office has looked it over, and they feel that it is going to be fine. So, the proof is in time forward, but I'm hoping, because there's nothing we can do about it essentially now. But they feel that it will be okay. So, I hope that we can trust that.
Okay, so I guess I haven't read through the entire agreement with the family and with the state. The family cannot just decide they don't want to do it anymore. Is that my understanding, that they can't just say, we don't like this arrangement, so we're out?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can't do that. But if the agreement that they based the giving it to them is broken, then they can take it back. But, lawyers see things the way they see them.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, so hopefully that is true. I just like to have faith that they would not push forward with this change. And I believe it was explained in one of the hearings or something that all the people are basically on the board because of the governor anyway. So it's just that he's choosing instead of the board members.
Okay.
So that's what my understanding was. So we're hoping that, I don't know what you do with hope, but hopefully we can trust that we will keep Harriman as beautiful and pristine as it is. Because, it's a really beautiful park. They do cross-country skiing in the winter, and they have those, the ranch with the buildings, and it's just a really great place. I know I've taken field trips with kids up there before, and it's just fun for them.
Yeah.
So, and we're fighting other battles in Island Park as far as subdivisions and, big. We fought off the airstrip. I think we had that stopped. But, they want to build all this other stuff up there. And, we love the flats the way they are. We love Harriman the way it is. And there has to be some places where people can go that are still beautiful and more on the natural side. So we'll see what happens. But I'd like to get into the legislature and to be able to really promote what we have in Island Park to protect it the way it is, because they also want to run a 4-lane up through there, and we've been fighting that too, because that would, it's supposed to be a tourist place, but also and recreation, but also there are a lot of businesses up there, and I think they've struggled this winter because we haven't had the snow that we needed, and so we need to be able to have. What a lot of us are proposing is just the two, where you switch back. There's 3 lanes where there's 2 lanes on one side and just switch back and forth. That would leave Island Park pretty much the way it is. We've fought wildlife overpasses. We've fought the National Monument at Mesa Falls. So there's always something going on. We got glamping going on there, which isn't great. So, we just need people to. We're working hard to protect what we have in Island Park.
Yeah. Well, very much, as you should. Carrie, thank you. Good to hear from you.
Thank you.
All right, it's 9:29 on News Talk 107.9. Let's take a break. We'll come back and continue after this. If you'd like to reach us, the number is 208-542-1079. You can call, you can text, and we'll be here. Okay, let's do advanced.
Okay.
And then we'll go right back into our news. So,
I answered the person about the headers.
oh, I don't know why maybe I'll research out and make that happen. If they download the XLS file, then
They can see it.
then they can see it. But
So I didn't do Dayquil this morning because I was out of Dayquil. Neil provided me my last 3 doses of Dayquil.
I have more in there.
Well, I did something different. I took Mucinex.
Oh,
And I actually feel like it really helped.
good.
I think it's worn off. I think
Okay.
we're hitting the,
Do you have more Mucinex or do you need more Dayquil?
No, I'll take some Mucinex when I get home.
Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, 9:32 News Talk 107.9. There is a reason why our friends at Advanced Windows Products enjoys 4.7 plus star ratings across 900 reviews on their site. It's because they have a 40-year reputation. They offer a lifetime guarantee of the windows they manufacture. And let's just face it, they're high quality, they're beautiful, and they're a perfect addition to any home.
They take big pride in that 4.72. They really take pride in starting the whole entire process with you, seeing you all the way through the process, and then finishing it with you, and then just kind of waiting in the wings. You can call them if something happens. There's that lifetime guarantee, like Neil mentioned. It's the knucklehead guarantee that Neil has coined it as.
Yeah.
And so they're always there with you. That's why they've got a 4.7. They've been able to truly treat people with the customer service that they deserve.
They have local manufacturing. That means faster service and a better warranty. And they will always help you save money when you buy a few more windows. You buy 10 or more, you'll get $2,500 off at least. Give them a call today just to get the process started. It takes a little bit of time for them to manufacture the windows because they build them custom for your home. 208-852-8685. That's 208-852-8685. We've got a break for the news, but we'll come back and continue after this on News Talk 107.9. Okay.
The 4-lane Island Park thing, that's a tough one. That's really hard. For the people who've lived there generationally, I totally get how they don't want it.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I had a father who drove that multiple times a week because that was his customer base.
Yeah.
He would have really struggled this year if he was still working. Clearly, he's been gone since 1999. So, but if he was still working, this would have been a tough year for him because he wouldn't have sold to the level that he would have been used to.
Yeah.
And that's hard when people make their living off that area. Tourism is, you've got to take the good with the bad.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I think, we're not going to do this, but if we did a flash poll, should we have a 4-lane highway through Island Park? I bet you it would be about 50-50 because a lot of people do like to go up there, and it does get incredibly congested, not to mention how dangerous it is. It seems like every summer there's multiple fatal accidents through Island Park because you've got the 2-lane highway that sometimes gives you an added passing lane.
Yeah.
But it 4-lane highways through that would be significantly safer, but they're also higher speed, and there's an awful lot of wildlife through there too. So you're increasing some danger in another part of things. So
it's so hard, and it's an absolutely beautiful area, which you would love to be able to just have it be that. But people also expect amenities when they come for tourism. So you've got to have stores, you've got to have restaurants, you've got and so back to you take the good with the bad.
I appreciate what Carrie was saying, but I will also say I don't know how long you're going to stave it off either. I think with so many more people moving here and so many people looking for places to get away that aren't so overcrowded, like the highest profile destinations.
Yeah.
People are looking for places like Island Park. And so I don't know that you can keep it the way it is in perpetuity. I don't think that's realistic.
I know we've shifted a little bit as a family. We're trying to get together in June as my kids, their spouses, and their kids. And we kicked around the idea of Disneyland for about this long.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted the crowds.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted any of it. They were like, no, it's too hard with kids. There's plenty of other outdoor fun things that we can do.
Yeah.
And so it got moved off the list really quickly. As people start to feel that way about these crowded places and the lack of safety and the weirdness of people, and I don't have another way to say that.
Yeah.
The weirdness of people.
There's weird people. Yeah.
Destinations like Island Park are going to be becoming even more popular.
But isn't there a catch-22? Because the more popular they become, then the more they become that place you need to avoid.
Exactly.
You know? It's like...
Exactly.
How much time do we have to still really enjoy it? And
there is no perfect solution to this.
There's not. Okay. All right, 9:38 on News Talk 107.9. Neil Larson and Julie Mason. And Julie, earlier today, I mentioned UFO disclosure, and nobody took the bait. We haven't gotten a single call about the UFO disclosure and that string of deaths and disappearances around this one thing, right, that you've been talking about.
Yes. So I'll set the table a little bit for people and let them call in on this. So about 3 weeks ago, we had a very, very, very talented former general, astrophysicist, incredibly intelligent man go missing in New Mexico. He was working in the private sector down there. He wasn't in, he was like a contract worker for the government, which so many of these retired military people do. And I think it was kind of a come and go as things work out for you. Anyway, he was at home. He was with his wife. She left for a medical appointment. When she got back, he was just gone. And he didn't take his appropriate things with him to go hiking. He didn't have his smartwatch. They can't find his red backpack. There's been no sign of anything from him in the wilderness.
And there wasn't like a behavioral change that would have suggested a suicide or anything like that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just gone.
Vanished. Okay.
Not the only scientist that's connected to him that is either dead or gone. We've got a scientist in California. She's a female. She worked a lot with like UFO type energy, things like that. Mm-hmm. She just was hiking with friends. They were a little bit ahead of her. They turned around, they waved at her. She waved back like, hey, yeah, I'm good. Keep going. And then when they turned back around again, no sign of her.
Just gone.
So they know exactly where she was. You would think if it was animal like predatory behavior, they would have found some pieces of clothing or a shoe or things like that. They didn't find anything. So she's just gone. You have a gentleman who was killed on his front porch in California. He lived so remote. If you look at the picture of his house, you can't see another house, another road, anything anywhere near his home. But somebody shows up at 6 o'clock in the morning and shoots him on his front porch.
And how is he connected?
He worked for the guy in New Mexico. They all worked on projects together. Everyone that I've mentioned currently.
So there is this common point then.
Yep. They've all worked on projects together. There's an Air Force base, which was what this gentleman was. His branch of the military was Air Force. And from 2011 to 2013, he ran the astrophysicist part of the Air Force base in Ohio. Well, about September time, a man kills his wife and a coworker and then himself. And they were directly connected to this guy who went missing 3 weeks ago.
I mean, they're saying he killed his wife, and yeah,
they've closed it. They say he absolutely did it. They have him on video doing it. So, because he's dead too. So there's no alleged. Yeah, they've closed the case.
But
they
they
say
have him on video killing his wife?
What they have on video is he pulled the car. Okay, he went to the coworker's house, killed that coworker.
They have the murder on video.
Not that one, but they have a witness of him going into that place. Then he drove his car to a place that had surveillance cameras.
Yeah.
He got out of the car, popped the trunk, and then ended his life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Okay.
That's on video. His wife was dead in the trunk.
Oh.
So that's how they've linked them all together.
Okay.
Those 3 people were all directly connected to the scientist who went missing 3 weeks ago in New Mexico because he ran that lab from 2011 to 2013.
Okay, so what's the theory?
That there's potentially some really
explosive
groundbreaking,
info.
explosive information that's going to be released about UFOs. So then you're looking at these guys going, did they not want it released? Do they have certain information that they need to get rid of these people so that things aren't clarified the way that they could be? Do these people have secrets that they've shared with foreign entities and they're trying to get rid of them? Because we're back in the middle of a space race, remember?
Yeah, right.
And that's what all of these people worked in that realm. All of them.
Okay, so I think you already had this video, but I saw Ashley Banfield had interviewed a dude. I don't know his title or name, but the dude who was an expert, he said that all of these people, that the common thread here is, and I don't know how he proved this or what evidence he has, but was that we had been making contact with non-human extraterrestrial intelligence and we were having interactions with them. And these people knew about it. And maybe they were about to come forward. They were would-be whistleblowers. And this was an effort to contain that. I'm not saying that.
Preemptive silence.
I'm just saying that was the idea that was indicated by this.
That's one of the theories. And it's important to note, all law enforcement is saying there's no connection between these people's mishaps, their murders, their disappearances. They say, yeah, they all work together, but they're all individual crime cases.
But wait. Wait. We're only days and a very few weeks removed from this, but they've already formed their conclusion on this?
Yeah, they say already in all of them. There's one more that I need to tell you about. There was a woman that also worked at the lab in New Mexico with a guy that went missing 3 weeks ago. She and her husband used to drive to work. Think a la INL in East Idaho. It takes about an hour to get to the lab because it's out in the middle of nowhere. So both the husband and the wife work at the lab. They drive out there on a morning. She goes into his secure area and drops him off. As he exits the car, he's telling law enforcement, I thought she was going to work at her station. She doesn't. She drives back to her home. Her adult daughter is in the house and like, why are you home, Mom? And she said, I'm going to work from home today. She doesn't do an ounce of work from home. They've watched her computer. They've looked at everything. She didn't do any work.
Yeah.
At about noon, she took a sandwich to her daughter's work, which was in like an outdoor mall. She gave her daughter the sandwich, told her she loved her, and then vacated her car and walked down a highway, and they've never seen her since.
What the crap is happening?
Yeah, and the whole time the husband thought she was at her place at the lab.
Okay. I mean, there's the skeptical part of me. Like this part of me that's like, okay, everything has an Occam's razor explanation here.
Uh-huh.
These are weird. And it's weird that they're all connected. And
absolutely weird.
It's because usually you don't just have people vanishing. Like while they're hiking a few dozen yards behind their group.
Especially without evidence.
Yeah. Like, well, give it a couple of years. We'll have a Netflix documentary to watch.
Probably.
But that's crazy.
Do you think, now that we've talked about this, do you think that there will be information released that's really earth-shattering? That's kind of a play on words.
Okay, my theory is going to be anticlimactic here.
Okay.
The answer to your question is probably what you'd think. Oh, however, I think if and when that's announced, it is much more likely to be an intelligence psychological operation than it is to be actual aliens that we're making connection with. That I think that this is if you can convincingly get people to believe something that is astonishing, you can control them. And I think that I can see, and especially when we live in an age of artificial intelligence, the consumer level quality of AI has become quite convincing. I promise you, there's a government or industrial level AI that they can now make videos that we could not distinguish. So could they create stuff that would be convincing to everyone, whether it's an alien invasion or whatever, they're talking to an alien? I think they probably could. And so I'm not saying that's what would happen, but when I look at what our own government, and I would say the deepest, ugliest, darkest, most evil corners of our government, the deep state, the way they've lied to the American public in the last few years, whether it's the pandemic and masks and vaccines and whatever else, look at the operation they tried to do to take out Donald Trump. They fabricated an entire narrative of stuff they knew was false because they didn't like Trump. I will not be surprised at anything that they put forward. So if all of a sudden, in the midst of now having the capability to fake an alien invasion, we might be having an alien invasion, call me skeptical.
Right. It could just be another binder they're pulling off the shelf.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. So just be very, very careful what you believe. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, caller. How are you today?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
I'm going to tie this all together in my thoughts. Okay. It's all a wag the dog situation. Confuse everybody with all these various different stories of, whether it's UFOs, whether it's whatever, okay? It's to distract us and keep us divided from just everything. Just, scramble our brains, basically. We've got the war going on down there in Iran. Has anybody, I haven't heard you talk about it, the escalation in the troops being deployed that way? I mean, it's in the tens of thousands now. And then there hasn't been a word by you guys that I've heard, by very little other press that I follow, about the war in Ukraine, how Ukraine's taken back almost 500 miles of their territory, square miles. And they're hitting Russia's export ports nightly. They're sending more drones into Russia than Russia's sending into them now. And all this stuff is just gone from the news. I don't see any reporting on it. So in my mind, it's a smokescreen, all these different stories, and they're taking the real things out of the news cycle, in my mind. The increased tensions with Iran, the troop movements, there are going to be boots on the ground in Iran. There's just no doubt in my mind, taking the news away from the Ukraine issue. Then the European issue, they just held the G7. I haven't heard anything about the G7 meetings.
Yeah.
So I think it's just all a bunch of misdirection.
Now, what if I said the Ukraine war was fabricated to distract us from the UFO invasion that's about to happen?
Nah, I seriously doubt that.
I know. I'm kidding.
There's reports of, I believe it was it Eisenhower that was president in 47, 49, right in there? Wasn't that Eisenhower?
47? Sure.
Okay. There's reports in the UFO legends, whatever you want to call it, historical, that he met down at
Harry Truman was president in
Roswell Air Force Base.
Yeah.
With aliens. I mean, so this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, I gotcha. Thank you for the call. 208-542-1079.
I was going to ask him something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. He can text. He listens regularly. He can text. I just wanted to make a gentlewoman and gentleman's agreement with him that if the Iran war completes, if Operation Epic Fury ends, and there are no boots on the ground will he be willing to call back to the program and say he was wrong?
Julie, we both know the answer to that question.
I just wanted to make an agreement with him.
Yeah.
Because I'm not 100% certain that there won't be boots on the ground, but we have been promised by the administration. And this gentleman listens to tons of YouTube podcasts and explanations, and that is gospel truth to him. So if he believes 100% there will be boots on the ground, if there's not, I would just love for him to recognize that maybe the people he was listening to aren't always correct.
You know, here also, we had Senator Risch on yesterday, and I specifically asked him about boots on the ground. And he said, he didn't say definitively no. However, because you never know how the contour of a war could change in 3 months or 6 months. But he said this will not be a forever war. And he said, I don't believe there will be boots on the ground. I think we can get this done without having to send troops in. I mean, it gave me pretty good confidence that we won't have boots on the ground, because I do think if that was the plan, or if it was obviously going to happen, Senator Risch's answer, and keep in mind, he gets lots of classified briefings a lot. He sits on the important committees that way. And if he had a feeling like it was likely that there would be boots on the ground, he would not have answered the way that he did yesterday.
Yeah, he wouldn't have put himself out on a limb like that.
Yeah.
Also, it's really important to understand that I think this caller is probably accurate. They probably are assembling people.
Yeah.
Military personnel, I'm sure they are. If you don't think they don't do this all of the time, they do.
Oh, yeah.
About a year into the Ukraine war, how pathetic am I saying a year in, because we're several years in now, but about a year into the Ukraine war, we had a massive presence of military personnel in Germany, just hanging out, just waiting, just in case.
Yeah.
So we assemble people all of the time. That is not distinct proof that there will be boots on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and here's what you kind of have to do, too. We're in the midst of these negotiations with Iran. President Trump delayed the bombing of the power infrastructure. He gave the date. April 6th was the day that he'll resume the bombings if Iran doesn't come to the table. And people will not many people will understand this. Some will not. In order to avoid having boots on the ground, you have to make it look like you're willing to put boots on the ground.
Yeah. It's the just in case.
So when you see this, and yeah, we are deploying thousands and thousands of troops to the area, don't make the mental leap and conclude that means boots on the ground. No, you put them there so you won't have to have boots on the ground. And it brings them to the table. And Iran, there is so much beauty and so much advantage, Julie, in Donald Trump being unpredictable. And I know it drives people crazy, but I will tell you, when it comes to foreign affairs, it is a massive asset to have a president that half the world thinks is a little nuts.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Okay. Guys, we are not going to have a very long post show, maybe just a couple of minutes today.
I'm going to go home and go to bed.
I am kicking Julie out of the station today.
He's tired of hearing my snotty voice.
That's not it at all. Not it. Okay. I think we'll have enough time. Yeah, we have 57:05. We'll have 1 minute to take this call. So.
Okay.
That's what we'll do when we get back. Oh, wow. The texts have been coming in.
Yeah.
He did text in. He said, yeah, I will. Will you admit you're wrong?
I didn't take a hard stance.
You didn't. You didn't claim that there won't be boots on the ground. He's the one taking the stance.
I will be a gentlewoman and say, you were exactly right. Boots on the ground did exist. I will say that.
Okay, here we go. $9:57 on News Talk 1079. Julie, your question was answered about the gentleman who called in and stated unequivocally there will be boots on the ground. Your challenge for him to call in if this conflict ends without us putting boots on the ground, will he call in and admit that he's wrong? And then he said, well, if you will admit you're wrong, you didn't take a stand on
I didn't
this.
take a stance, but I will acknowledge that he was correct because I've got that capability. I'm not sure he has the capability. I know he said he would, and so I will. We'll stick it with that. We'll wait.
So we're pitting what he actually said with what he thinks you secretly believe.
I guess
That's what we're doing here. So, okay. Can I really quick? We have like 30 seconds left. We don't have a call. They hung up, but I think we need to define boots on the ground. Okay.
Oh, okay.
For me, boots on the ground means is you are visibly deploying troops to go in and conquer. If we send covert teams in, like Navy SEALs or whatever, that's not boots on the ground. To me, that is not considered boots on the ground. So we may have a disagreement in terms. But, okay, Julie, you're going to get rest this weekend.
I am.
Okay.
I am.
And we're going to be back here Monday right here on News Talk 1079. Be safe, and we'll see you then.